Well, hello everybody, and we welcome you to this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin Milling. Glad to be with you once again in your living room, or if you're watching wherever it is, at work or at the gym somewhere. We thank you for being a part of what we're going to do. Today on the program, in the first segment, we're going to talk with an author, a published author. He is a retired police inspector for the Philadelphia Police Department, and he has a book out called Blacks in Blue. In our second segment, we're going to talk to attorney Robert Coco, and he's going to give us some advice on some legal issues that a lot of us may be facing, but he's got all the right tips for us today. And then we're going to close out the show with Pastor Alick. He's the pastor of a church in Reading, Pennsylvania, the Zion Baptist Church of Reading, and he's going to talk about being a pastor at that church. He's also going to talk about a very important gathering that's going to be taking place at Triumph Baptist Church coming up. So stay along with us for the ride. We'll be back with News You Can Use in a moment. Hello, everybody, and we welcome you to this edition of News You Can Use. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back, Inspector. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you with us. Former, now retired police inspector, Philadelphia Police Department, Art Matthews, and a published author. Here is his book. He's rejoining us on the show. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so a lot's been going on since we were last together. It's been over a year now since you made an appearance on News You Can Use. So speaking of appearances, you've got an appearance that you just did recently that I understand, a book signing.
Right.
And where was that?
In Atlantic City, at the African American Heritage Museum in Atlantic City. I was concerned at first because this book is basically about Philadelphia. But historically, it's all the departments and all the cities basically went through the same problems that we had in Philadelphia. It was well attended. The mayor of Atlantic City, the chief of police of Atlantic City, attorneys from the prosecutor's office, and the city council.
Showed out to hear you talk about your book, to buy your book, and to get it signed by you.
That's right.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. So now, you served as a chief inspector for the Philadelphia Police Department. You served as a police officer first, and all total, a 19-year career?
19 years, right.
And when did you come on board?
In 1961.
And when were the first black police officers recognized as police here in the city?
The first black police in Philadelphia were appointed on August the 5th, 1881.
1881. And that was a struggle to get blacks to be police at that time?
Well, they were rioting to prevent it. And then some of the white police officers resigned rather than to work with the new black police officers.
Were black police officers paid the same amount of money as white police officers?
Yes, they were paid the same amount of money, but there were some unique officers. One of the first black police officers appointed, August the 5th, 1881, was a lawyer. Another one was a seaman on the Constellation, which is was the flagship for the African squadron, which their job was to interdict ships coming off the west coast of Africa with slaves, turn them back. If they didn't turn them back, capture them and free the slaves. And they freed over 3,700 slaves.
Now that's some history. That's another whole book by itself.
It's in the book.
Okay.
It's part of the evolution in the book from the beginning.
So now people who really want to really know this book, get into this book, they need to purchase the book. You're going to be doing some upcoming dates where you'll have book signings and be selling the book. Give us one or two of the dates upcoming.
Well, October the 10th, which is the anniversary of Octavius Cato assassination, I will be doing a book signing at the Bloxon.
Dr. Charles Bloxon.
His collection. I will be doing discussing on the book,
Okay.
and book signing. That's October 10th at 2 in the afternoon.
And that's on the campus of Temple University?
At Temple University, in fact, at their library.
Okay.
And I'm working with the African American Museum here in Philadelphia. They're going to help recognize 3 men that really broke the glass ceiling for blacks in the Philadelphia Police Department. Prior to 1952, the highest rank that a black man could achieve in the Philadelphia Police Department was a sergeant. And we only had 2 that I could find in doing the research. And one of them, by the way, was Marion Anderson's uncle.
History.
His name was Richard Anderson. And in 1952, when Mayor Clark was elected mayor, he selected a police commissioner named Thomas Gibbons. And Thomas Gibbons immediately broke the glass ceiling and appointed a black man as captain in the Philadelphia Police Department. Now, he caught a lot of flack over it, but he stood his ground. And that started it. And then we had our former governor, Eddie Rendell. I said, Edward Rendell.
Well, I call him Eddie, and I loved our former mayor, former governor. He made me one of his commissioners on the a governor's commission for women. So yeah, we can call him Eddie if we want to.
Well, we go back a long time. Ed Rendell and I. In fact, I was assigned the commander of Homicide Division. It was the first time a black in the nation was assigned to command the Homicide Division here in Philadelphia. And Ed Rendell, he was chief of the prosecutors' Homicide Division. So we worked hand in hand for many years. So we know each other very well. Ed Rendell, he broke the glass ceiling in the county. He appointed the first black male as chief of county detectives. Also, he appointed the first female and only female that ever had that position as chief of county detectives. She just happened to be black also. Plus, when he became governor, he appointed a black as the inspector general for the state of Pennsylvania. So we want to recognize all of this.
Very progressive thinker. I want people to know that they can purchase this book. So aside from the book signings that you are doing, can people buy it online? Can they go to a bookstore? Tell me real quickly.
They can go to the website for the book. It's www.blacksinblue. Now that Blacks is BLACKINS BLUE, one word.
.com. All right, I thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate you for the history, for the love, for the commitment, not only to the black community, but to the overall community in Philadelphia for the years, the 19 years you served as a police officer and ultimately a chief inspector.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations for all that you've done.
Thank you.
All righty, we're going to keep it moving as we go forward with this edition of News You Can Use. We'll come back and we're going to get some tips from a legal brain. Stay with us.
Dancing to me, I think it's the truest form of expression.
I was a dancer since I was 4 years old. I was tripping and I was falling and I didn't even know what multiple sclerosis was.
With the 360 camera, it gives the chance for someone to see what I see, experience what I experience. Have a surprise.
Are you ready for this? Here we go. Oh my God. I dream sometimes and I see that. I like the way your arms and yay.
We are back. We are back as we go forward with this edition of News You Can Use, and I'm your host, Thera Martin Milling. In this segment, I am delighted to present to some and to introduce to others Attorney Robert Coco. And you are awesome. You've been a guest for me on WURD. You're coming back soon, right?
I am coming back, yes.
And you talk about a lot of the issues that are hot topic issues for people that some of us may take for granted, but that are facing folks every day. What are some of those hot button issues that you as an attorney have to dispense advice about?
Well, I'm a consumer lawyer, Thera, and as you
hot
know,
button issues, yes.
Right. We deal with, as a consumer lawyer, with state and federal laws that protect the average consumer in transactions.
Yes.
And probably the hottest topic for most people is credit these days. And there's a big issue in the news right now with the Equifax data breach.
Yes, yes.
And that's important in and of itself for people to protect themselves regarding that particular problem. But it's also important for them to understand that that same pool of computer information can affect them in a lot of ways in life. One of the least known is in an employment context when they're applying for a job in the form of background checks.
Yes.
It's a very important issue because people are entitled to see those background checks and very often do not, and don't understand sometimes that they may not be getting jobs because of errors in those background checks.
So that's pretty scary. So when a potential employee finds out that they got nixed from an opportunity for a job because something was incorrect, they would come to an attorney such as you to help try to fight for them to get the job?
Yes. Well, probably not for the job per se, but for damages resulting from violations of the law that occurred by them not getting the job. Right,
so who gets sued? That's what I want to know.
Sure.
Is it Equifax?
It could yes. So the two primary targets in those type of actions would be the credit reporting agencies who dispense the information to the employer and the employer, because they have independent duties under the law to treat the job applicant in accordance with the legal requirements.
Okay. So, and then with identity theft cases, that's just so scary to me. And having somebody like take over your life and they're spending your money and you're not getting the benefit of it, and you're trying to prove that you're clean. I didn't buy this, $8,000 whatever. Does that come to you like that, the identity theft cases?
Very often. Identity theft, it is scary, but there's simple ways to deal with these things. And I consult with consumers for free and very often represent them for free. So there's no reason to be scared as long as you have the proper knowledge of what to do.
Yeah, but I watched the commercials, the infomercial really, SafeLink I think it's called, and they go on and on about how they'll show somebody who's been through it that it was horrible and it took them years to get their credit back, and so that has me shaking in my boots. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get an attorney for this thing?
Well, yes.
Sometimes,
unfortunately, very often you have to do it because the credit reporting agencies are really not set up to fix these problems in a way specifically that they read the dispute letter that you send them with all the evidence. Very often it's just a matter of comparing computer codes, which is not going to help the average person. So the first thing you should do in an identity theft situation is to report it to the police. Not because the police are going to solve the issue, because obviously in the cyber world it's almost impossible to track down the people who are doing these things. But that is the first step in showing the credit reporting agency, regardless of whether they ultimately look at your information and correct it, that's the first step towards credibility in showing that this is not a credit item that belongs to you. And then what I do with clients is craft a credit dispute letter in the right way, send it in the right way, so that if it is not honored by the credit reporting agency and the creditor who has to be contacted with regards to reinvestigating this, they both have duties to reasonably reinvestigate the dispute. And if they don't, we set it up properly with the client so that they could have a lawsuit to get the result that the law entitles them to.
Okay. Another one of those hot button consumer issues where people can end up having to or needing to talk to someone like yourself, an attorney at law, lemon cars.
Yes.
These cars that we buy cost us an arm and a leg, 6 months to a year after having purchased it, or once the warranty is gone, it dies on you.
Yes, so one thing it's important for people to understand.
This has happened to me if this sounds personal,
These issues occur very commonly, and that's why no one should be embarrassed to say that it did happen.
Yes.
It never feels good to say you've been ripped off in a transaction,
yeah.
but the only way to get on the road to correcting it is to admit it and realize that you have a lot of people in the same place that you are. It's very tough to make it in a capitalist society. There's always people waiting to take advantage of you, and you have to fight back. But if you fight back with a lawyer, you're in a much better position to do so productively. So lemon law is it's one thing that's important for your viewers to understand is that lemon law applies to new cars, not used cars. However, increasingly many people buy used cars because of the price differential. And there is recourse, not under the lemon laws, but just under what we call the common law, meaning fraud claims and the like, and statutory protections like the consumer protection law. And you can sue a car dealer for making a misrepresentation as to the used vehicle. The most common one that affects the price of the vehicle, essentially causes you to overpay for the vehicle, is prior collision damage that's not disclosed by the car dealer. That could drastically affect the value of the car. Half the cars on the road have been in collision accidents. Unless you know how bad it is, you are not an educated consumer.
Okay, so that is good to know. Give me another hot button consumer issue that people come to attorneys such as yourself for.
Debt collection harassment, especially calls to their cell phones.
Okay.
These could be their
or
debts.
at your job, right?
Yes. If you're contacted at your job by a debt collector, you should send a certified letter to them saying that you're not permitted to receive those calls at work. And once again, if they then disobey your instruction, that could lay the groundwork for a lawsuit under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act.
Okay, so then that's what our viewers need to know in a situation like that. If you have a collection company harassing you and calling you at home, at work, on your cell phone, there is something you can do to try and address that.
Yes, there is. And the great thing about all these laws, some of which I've mentioned, some of which I haven't, is that they have a provision in them that allows you to collect your attorney's fees. So you don't have to pay me if you're a consumer that's been afflicted with one of these problems. The bad guys have to pay me. Interesting,
interesting, very good. Now real quick, some background. Attorney Robert Coco, Philadelphia resident, practiced downtown.
Yes.
Where?
I practice in Center City, 1500 Walnut. I'm a graduate of Central High School. Went to school at St. Joe's University, Temple Law School, so I'm a local boy.
Yes, 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 and doing so well. And willing to come on programs like this and to different radio stations and making yourself available to lawmakers. I know you were very supportive to former, now retired State Senator Shirley Kitchen when she would have different programs in the community to uplift people. You were willing to come out pro bono and to talk and to share your knowledge about law to help people.
Yeah, she was a great friend, and she helped me to help her constituents fight foreclosures, which is something else that is a hot button issue for a lot of people.
And I see that you're still working with lawmakers because there's Pennsylvania State Senator Sharif Street, and you're trying to make yourself available to him from time to time as well, or to his constituents.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right, well, fantastic. And if people want to hear more about some of the issues that are hot button issues for consumers that they need to come and see an attorney about, how can they be in touch?
Well, they can contact me by phone, 215-351-0200, and at my website, www.phillyconsumerlaw.com. I try to provide some educational content as well as
excellent
information.
And you know, for our senior citizens, our seasoned citizens, most of all, there seems like there's always scams floating around them for people trying to take advantage of our elders. Elder abuse. We're going to talk about that another time, and in fact, we'll be talking about it on WURD real soon. Great. So we'll have you back on the radio, and when appropriate, we'll try to get you back in over here too. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, now you have a great day. We will continue with news you can use. We'll be talking with Pastor Alick, and he is running for president of the Pennsylvania State Baptist Convention. Stay with us. We'll be back.
For my next classes.
%31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
I see my friends out there getting waves. It's like It's hard. It was a surprise to me when they told me I had MS. It's like, you sure?
Well, this is a virtual reality rig, and this is going to allow Steve to see and experience the waves that I ride. Put that on your head.
Whoa.
Hello, everybody. Here we go with our third and final segment for this edition of News You Can Use. And I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to say thank you to my new student producer here at LaSalle TV, Sister Sierra, and to all of the students who are part of LaSalle University's Communications Department who helped to make this program run. You all are doing a great job. I'm excited about this whole season and how we're going to all work together. We got a great team. They're acting like professionals from CNN and MSNBC and our local TV stations as well. So 3 cheers for the students of LaSalle University who work under the direction of Professor Tanya Ellis. Had to get that out. I want to thank you, Pastor Alick, for being here with me today and coming from Reading to do this. We really appreciate your presence.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
Yes,
really
sir. Now, I first met you through one of my former colleagues that I used to work with at WURD. We also worked together at WHAT for a while, Steve Ballard.
Yes.
So that is how I first met you, and there was just something special about you. And I would think about you from time to time, and then I got married and I moved to Germantown, and I know that you preached and were a pastor at Germantown Church for quite some time and made your impact there. And now God has moved you to the Zion Baptist Church of Reading, PA.
Yes, and I thank God. It's a beautiful church, and my wife and I love the area. We love the mountains of Pennsylvania. We realize Pennsylvania is a beautiful state, but I love Reading, the people of Reading, and I also thoroughly enjoy my church. I really do. They're very receptive to ministry that we're doing there, and it's been a year now. And
well,
God has really blessed us. Thank you.
That is good. That is good. While I know that there are many who miss you in Philadelphia, Reading is only a skip jump away.
That's right.
And you are very active in your church, with your family, but with the church community as well. You have been recognized as a church, church organization leader. I think that's the appropriate way of saying it.
Because they've also got the Reading and Vicinity Ministerial Alliance up there, and I've become a part of that. I'm the new kid on the block, so I'm learning from the other pastors and preachers in the area, and they too have been very warm and receptive to me, and I'm grateful for that.
Okay, but now the Pennsylvania State Baptist Convention, am I saying that?
Pennsylvania Baptist State.
Okay, I just sit around.
PBSC.
Okay, our organization has been around for a lot of years.
Oh yeah, this is our 126th annual session coming up, and we have a Congress of Christian Education, and they've been around for at least 63 years. And we meet on the campus of Millersville University in July for the Congress of Christian Education.
But so coming up this month of October, October 12th, is it 1 day or 2 days?
It's actually October the 9th to the 13th that the session will be going on. That's the parent body session. The 6th to the 9th will be the youth and young adult session. But yeah, the 9th to the 13th is when the full parent body will be in session at the Triumph Baptist Church. Reverend Dr. James Hall, the esteemed and honored pastor and a former president of the state convention, is hosting us. And the election, though, will take place on that Thursday.
And this is the election for the officers of the state convention, Pennsylvania State Convention.
And I'm running for president of the Pennsylvania Baptist State Convention.
And you have been a leader, one of the top leaders of this organization for some time now. You didn't just show up yesterday.
No, I didn't. I have taught in the Congress of Christian Education over the years. I've taught youth and young adults. I've taught teenagers, I've taught senior citizens. In fact, I taught a computer class with senior citizens. And within the convention itself, I've preached and taught various sessions over the years. Ever since, in fact, Dr. Hall was president back in the 1990s when I first came back to Philadelphia. But my affiliation with the convention goes back to my days at Vine Memorial back in the 1970s. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
You've been around and you've been doing this church leadership thing.
Currently, I'm serving as Vice President at Large for the state convention. Prior to that, I was State Director of Christian Education. So I've done a lot within the state convention, yes.
Now, taking on such a position in any officer position, to me, for a statewide organization, that means you're going to be working, you're going to be busy. You've got to you've got to move around the state here and there and see what's going on and do your job.
Exactly. The good thing is the state is divided up into 4 regions. We have the eastern region, the central region, the west, and the southwest. And each of those regions has a regional vice president. It's their responsibility to work together with the associations in each of the areas so that the president can delegate. Now, I have to cast the vision. I have to set the tone for the convention. But then it's up to the other officers, and I will have a vice president at large, Dr. Alick Piper, to help carry it out.
They're giving me the signal that we are all but out of time, but I want to thank you for coming and sharing. And we're going to share this with our listening audience here in Philadelphia, and we wish you all the best with your campaign going forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's really Pastor Alick, and that's it for this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin. Check us out on Word TV, and also keep on watching at LaSalle TV, Comcast Channel 56, and Verizon Fios Channel 36. Everybody have a blessed day ahead.